All right, so I just messed up my video and it's now a different size than it was before. I created a really quick HTML. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like. All right, click the button to get inspired. We're gonna have a motivational quote. I've actually changed it from motivation to science quotes. I think these are really important. I think it's really important for us to take science really seriously and use it. Okay, so it's our science quote generator. I'll be able to click a button and it will put a quote down here. All right. So how can I get started? Well, there's two things we're going to go over right now. First, we're going to go over how to create. We're gonna create another array. Our array will have all our quotes in it. We're also going to use a special kind of built-in function to JavaScript, and it's about random. And so we're going to use the random function to randomly select something from our list. Okay, it's actually pretty straightforward. And let's go ahead and try it. So first, let me put together my script. Now, of course, I would love this in an external JavaScript, but for now, we will use it as this. Let me get my list. Okay, so we'll start this first and we'll put constant quotes equals and then my quotes. Now you'll notice that in an array, you can actually go on to the next line as you go, because the bracket is what denotes the end of the variable, not just the new line. So I can have all of these different ones. Let us go ahead and pull what's next from here. All right. So I have my quotes, and what I want to do is I want to create a function that randomly selects a quote. And what I want to do is I essentially, actually I should just type it up here. I want to create a function that randomly selects a quote and places it in the specified div tag. Okay. All right, so how can I do this? First, let's start a function. I'm going to do function select quote, parentheses. I don't need to actually, there's no parameters for this. And I am going to, first of all, define a variable, let which quote, so the variable called which quote, equals, and it's math dot random. Now what math.random does is it creates a number and gives it back to me. So which quote will have a value. So let's see what the math.random actually returns. Let's go ahead and do console.log which quote. And then let's go ahead and go here on button. On click equals select quote. Save it. All right, now let's go ahead and test it. If I click get quote, what you'll notice is that it's not, you can't see it. What you'll notice is that the number is not a whole number, okay? So it's just a decimal. It's actually math.random in JavaScript gives you the value between gives you some number between 0 and 1, all right? So we need to modify this. So let me go ahead and do that. There's gonna be a little bit of coding here. So it's not just math.random, it's actually another built-in method called math.floor, which is it'll take the lowest number, and I have to multiply math.random times our array's length. So in this case, quotes dot length. Okay. So what should happen here is we should start to get solid numbers. Solid numbers, whole numbers. This is why I didn't go into math. All right, refresh. Got a quote. 9, 7, 1, 8, 7, 0, 9, etc. Okay, so you see that I have lots of different numbers that are randomly being generated. This, again, what's happening is you kind of need to start in the center, and that is take a random number between 0 and 1, multiply it by how long this is, by how long your array is. In this case, our array is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 long. Then take the floor of it. That means round down. Now, based off of this, I doubt we're going to hit 10. Let's take a look. Will I hit 10? Will I ever get 10 as a selection? Yeah, it seems like I'm not able to get 10. That's interesting. Okay. I could fix that, but I won't right now. I could just add a nothing to the end of my list. Let's see. That's not good programming. There it is. I can get a 10 there, and I can get a 0. Okay. Doesn't look like we can get an 11 yet, so let's just do that. Let's go with that. And that's a hack. Okay, so math.random times how long this is, and then take round down. Don't round up or down, just round down. Take the floor. So if it was like 10.6, it becomes 10. All right. This is sort of the standard way to do random selection of items from an array. Of course, we're not just going to console.log. What we really want to do is we really want to take the value of quote display and change it to be that quote. So let's do let my div equal document dot get element by ID parentheses quote. What's the ID? Quote display. Quote display. So that's just going to be the P tag. That's going to be this value. All right, or it's going to be this space, and then we're going to set its inner HTML, my div dot inner text equals quotes, so the array, and which quote. Okay, so what's going to happen in this is console.log which quote, you know, we're outputting what the number was, just so we know. Let this variable called myDiv, which is essentially this space right here. I like to use myDiv as a name, even though it can be a P or a span or something, but we're going to use myDiv because I can use whatever name I want. And then I set the inner text, so the text of this, to be the array quotes and which object or which item from the list the random number we generated. So if I save this and I run it and I get a quote, do it again. Your future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. You'll notice that sometimes the number comes back the same twice because it's random. And that is the 10. So perhaps I am a fool. That was 1. Why did 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my gosh, I'm so silly. Of course it never got to 10 because it was 0 indexed. We're going to undo the hack. Let's try that again. So I just completely ignored my own advice. So it's putting a completely different quote in there. And so again, this is a sort of like very basic use of an array in a function. In how we might use it. Like we might randomly select things. We might have put tooltips, or like, hey, for when someone loads a page, like here's an interesting tip on how to use this tool, etc. So that's something we can do with it. Let's take a look at some other ways that we can use lists in our interface design to make it more meaningful.